37, 38 on the screen. Oh yeah, we're cooking now. Let's take this thing off-road. But it just has a little bit of extra power and speed in it. Let's see how this sucker does on these hills right here. This right here is the Bluvall SU8. And it may look like every other 48 volt moped style e-bike out there, but I promise you this one has a little bit of a twist, which we will get into a little bit later, but let's go over some of the other specs that this bike offers. They give you a claimed 35-mile-an-hour top speed. They say that's good for 60 miles of range, and in the rear here, they give you a 1500 watt hub motor, which should be plenty of power for this bike. And how can we not talk about this gorgeous paint job on this thing, along with these orange color matched wheels, which really make this whole package look awesome, especially around Halloween time. This thing looks like a big old pumpkin. Bluvall also gives you some nice DY Island hydraulic brakes, a headlight and a tail light with built-in turn signals, and they give you a horn too, which is incredibly loud. They give you a half twist throttle, 7 Shimano gears, and a really beautiful color display that tells you a whole bunch of different information. This is also a full suspension bike, so you get a compression adjustment in the front, a preload adjustment, and then this shock in the rear is not adjustable. It's just a regular old coil shock. So the thing that sets this bike apart is its battery here in the middle. So for this price, about 900 bucks, you would expect a 48 volt battery, but you'd be wrong. This is a 52 volt battery. That really sets this thing apart from its competition, especially at this price point. You should be able to get a couple more mile-an-hour top speed out of this thing than a 48 volt moped style bike. Some of the nice features that this bike has is this phone holder right here that actually has a USB port built into it, so you can charge your phone while you're riding. They also have some holes here that look like you can hook up a rear rack and a front rack on this bike. The seat feels decently comfortable, and overall you can just tell that they paid attention to detail on this bike. The welds look really nice on the frame. The paint looks really good. It was packed really well in shipping. One thing off the bat that I'm not a huge fan of is this front axle here. It's a quick release, which on a moped style bike, especially one that can go over 35 miles an hour, I don't really like to see that. I'd like to see a through axle on here just for that extra safety. So the SU8 also comes with these Velocity tires, which I've actually never seen on a bike before, and apparently they have a steel puncture guard on them, so hopefully it's a little bit harder to get a flat on this thing. And this is how I look sitting on the SU8. I'm 5'9", 150 pounds, and this thing fits me rather nicely actually. It feels like a nice tossable little moped style e-bike. I really like how this thing feels. And if you put it into pedal assist 5, you can do a little bit of a wheelie right there. Feels like it's got plenty of power. Let's be real, you're probably not gonna be pedaling this thing very much, but at 5'9" and an inseam of 31, I actually am not super uncomfortable pedaling this. First impressions, the Bluvall SU8 looks like a really, really great bike on paper. So let's get it out on the trail and see how this thing does in the real world. I'd like to introduce you guys to my new test track that I had built. Thank you guys for watching so that I could have this huge strip of pavement built to test the top speed of e-bike. So why don't we start this test drive out with a little bit of a top speed test on this huge straightaway here that I just built with all my YouTube money. Looks like it's saying 31 on the GPS, 33, 34 on the built-in screen, 37, 38 on the screen. Oh yeah, we're cooking now. 36, 37, wow. Testing out those DY Island brakes, feeling real good. There is a little bit more of a kick when you accelerate on this bike, but overall it's really not a huge difference from 48 volts. It's not gonna be a life-changing thing to go from 48 to 52 volts. You probably really won't even feel it that much. This thing just wants to cruise at like 32, 33 miles an hour though. This is a pretty quick little e-bike, especially for the price. So they're selling this thing for 900 bucks, $899, but they do have a 15% off discount code, so you can get this for about 750 bucks or so. And at that price, that is insane. That is one of the cheapest moped style e-bikes that you can get, especially as a 52 volt one. I don't know of any 52 volt moped style e-bikes. Really like this off the top of my head. Most of them are just the standard 48s. Most of these moped e-bikes nowadays, honestly, they look like copy and paste of each other. But I love how this thing sticks out with the nice orange wheels and the orange paint, and also sticks out with its specs since it has that 52 volts battery on there. Let's take this thing off-road. Yeah, this thing feels peppy. It doesn't feel like a 60 or a 72 volt, but it just has a little bit of extra power and speed in it. This rear suspension, oh man, it's not really helping much. This rear suspension is pretty stiff. Woo. Yeah, oh man, this rear suspension is pretty stiff. Oh, a little bit of air there. Yeah, not super confidence inspiring with as far as the suspension goes, but you know, this is going to be a bike that I think most people are going to just be riding on the street. They're not really going to be taking this thing on trails and stuff, but you can do it on this grass trail like this. It feels just fine. You got knobby tires. At first I really didn't notice too much the extra power of this 52-volt battery, but it really does make a little bit of a difference. It does make a noticeable difference. It's not like a world-changing difference, but you can definitely notice that you got a little bit of extra power. Hopefully these puncture-resistant tires are working. There's a lot of sticks and stuff out here, but even over this bumpier stuff, it really feels good. As long as you stand up a little bit like a dirt bike, you know, it feels good. It feels fine. You can definitely take it off-road, but really the thing that I love about this bike, as I kind of alluded to earlier, is how this thing looks. It just looks so cool compared to the other options that are 48 volts. You know, you're getting just a little bit extra with this bike. And the styling on this thing just looks awesome. This orange paint looks so cool and it just stands out. I love the fact that it has the orange wheels too, the fact that they color matched it. Again, the attention to detail on this is just awesome. They do have two other colors available for this right now. I have this orange one, obviously. They have a blue, and then I think they have just a black as well. But if you buy the other colors, you don't get the color matched wheels. So that's only an option on the orange, and that's why I wanted to get the orange, because I wanted to see these cool color matched wheels in person. We got our knobby tires all muddy there because it was raining out a lot today. But man, I really love how this thing looks. And the frame size, as far as for me, it feels really, really good. It actually might even feel a little bit small for me at 5'9". But no, it feels really good. If anything, it feels a little bit small even. Like my knees are kind of close to the handlebars here. And the front forks, you know, I can almost touch my knee with the front forks there. So this is a little bit of a smaller frame. If you're a smaller person, you should be able to ride this thing pretty comfortably. No weird rattles or anything coming out of this yet. The front brake was rubbing just a little bit, but that usually sorts itself out after a few miles. Throttle feels pretty responsive. It sort of eases you into it at first, and then it kind of kicks you a little bit and gives you the full amount. Let's see how this sucker does on these hills right here. I'm not expecting too much because at the end of the day it still is a 52-volt hub motor, but we'll give it a little bit of a run out. Yeah, you know, it's a little bit better than most 48-volt bikes, but that's kind of the name of the game with this bike, is it's just a little bit more than a 48-volt bike. When you take into consideration that this isn't a 48-volt bike and it's a 52-volt bike, and the price on this thing, I think that it really is an appealing combination so far. There is cruise control. As you can see, I'm accelerating and my hand is off of the throttle right now. I don't know whether I like cruise control or not, but on this, it doesn't really seem too intrusive. It seems like you have to be cruising for a while at one speed. You threw a nice pair of road tires on this thing and it would quiet down the ride a little bit. It is nice that we have the turn signals on this, even though they are in the rear only. I'm sure there's a way that you could get front turn signals for this. Down this bump, not too bad. Suspension on this bike is kind of weird. I don't know. It feels pretty stiff when you're just kind of sitting on it stationary, but when it comes to bumps, it actually is pretty compliant. It feels good. This thing starts to cook once you get up at higher speeds. It feels really, really good. The speedometer is a little inaccurate. It's a couple miles an hour off, but this thing still is quick for a bike in this price point. Most bikes that I test in this price range, they can go 28, maybe 30 miles an hour, maybe like 31, 32 max. But this thing's getting up to 32 to 36. You guys saw it back there in the beginning. In the corners, it feels good. The weight is kind of a little bit down low, and it's in the middle here with this battery. This thing handles pretty much like every other moped-style bike. It feels really nice in the bends, and it's balanced pretty well. This is a pretty light bike to begin with. The frame right here is kind of thin. Like, there's not really too much to it. I just feel like I can throw this thing around, and it just can handle it. You know, this is a pretty confidence-inspiring bike. Brakes on here are DY Island brakes. And they get you to stop pretty good. DY Island's not the absolute best as far as hydraulic. Typically, they're sort of like the budget option. Oh, and now our front rotor is scraping a little bit. And on this, since it's a lighter bike, it really feels, this is more than adequate. These brakes are very good on this bike, but just keep that in mind. DY Island typically is like the more budget, kind of cheaper brands. Even if you look at the retail price of $900 on this thing, to have hydraulic brakes on this is just awesome. Most bikes at this price point that I've tested have had cable brakes. So pedaling on this bike, why don't we knock it down into pedal assist? Well, you can knock it down to pedal assist 0 and you're completely on your own. Of course, like most moped style e-bikes, the seat's really wide and I wouldn't want to pedal this thing home without any assist. But you know, I can kind of be here in first gear and I'm in second. It's comfortable. I mean, if you want to get some exercise, you can definitely do it. It's totally doable. But we'll shift it into pedal assist 1. Really eases you on the power. It's like it's maxing us out at about 11 miles an hour here. Doesn't seem to limit our power on throttle, but in pedal assist 2, it looks like we're getting up here to about 20 miles an hour. I think this is a cadence sensor. I'm just kind of getting you know, a big push of power. I'm not really getting any more power when I pedal harder. So you run out of gear at about 19, 20 miles an hour, which is typical on most moped style e-bikes. Me personally, I ride these things just on pedal assist 5 and on throttle in 99% of situations. I'm really not pedaling this thing. So I've been riding about 12 miles, saying that we have a little over half battery left. And I think I finally kind of figured out. So when I first got on this bike, I was not really super impressed with its power. It didn't really feel that crazy, but I don't know if it just kind of broke in a little bit or what. But I can definitely tell that this has more power than a regular 48 volt bike does, because at the low end, it feels just like every other 48 volt bike. You know, it's kind of lackluster off the line. There's not really much to it. You know, it gets going, but it really has to ease you into that power. But something happens when this bike hits like 25 miles an hour. It just kicks in. It's like a turbo in a car or something. You know, after 25 miles an hour, the power just kicks in on this thing and it feels really, really good. Feeling that this is a 52 volt bike is in the mid-range here. The low end doesn't feel anything really different than a 48 volt, but on that on the top end and in the mid-range, that's where you really feel all of that extra power. Back from our test ride, and I gotta say, this thing's awesome. I was very impressed with the Bluvall SU8 so far. Just, it blows my mind that they can give you this much bike for such a small price, especially when there's so many good 48 volt options out there for around the same price. Some 48 volt options are even more expensive than this thing. So it's just crazy that they can pack this much value into a bike like this. So like I said, I do have that discount code in the description. It's currently on sale for about 750 bucks. And of course, if you do buy through me, it does help support the channel and everything. But overall, guys, very impressed with the Bluvall SU8. Some things that I really like about this bike is, first off, the fact that it's a 52 volt bike. I mean, in a space dominated by 48 volt bikes, for a 52 volt system like this is really, really nice to see. I also love the paint on this thing and the fact that it comes with the color matched wheels too. The attention to detail is just awesome on this bike. There really weren't any weird squeaks or rattles when I was out on the ride on this thing, besides the front brake rubbing a little bit. I really think it's a really well thought out bike. The rear suspension could be a little bit softer. Front suspension was pretty good, and just overall, you know, it felt a little bit sluggish off the line. I don't know what it was. It just felt a little bit sluggish off the line, but like I said, that mid-range, it really just kind of kicks you and takes off. Also, I know I was going pretty fast on this thing and kind of putting it through its paces, but to get 18 miles out of a 20 amp hour battery doesn't really make sense to me. I think you should be getting a little bit more range. Like typically on a 48 volt bike, I could get like at least 25 to 30 miles and still have some battery left when I get home. On this, you know, I'm hovering at 3 battery bars. So if you do want to pick up one of these bad boys, I can totally recommend it. It is a great value bike. With that being said, guys, that's all for today's video. I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Ride safe out there.